Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I am joined by
Jason Harris,
Cherry Bomb, Greg Nagel.
Uh-oh.
That's it.
What just happened?
You're fired, Joe. You're fired.
Joseph Senegalia's mic's not working.
Joseph.
This week on the show, we are featuring beers from Liquid Gravity Brewing Company. Not for any specific reason, only because they got brought up on a previous episode, and we decided to buy some of their beers, because I don't know if I've ever had any of their beer. I can't say I have.
think I maybe did the Pale from the Crypt during one of our COVID shows.
I was introduced to Liquid Gravity during COVID because they were one of the breweries who started shipping beers, and I had heard they were good, and I got their West Coast IPA and thought it was absolutely fuego.
I want to say there was a collab thing they did with Michelini or something, like right when they opened. Does that sound familiar to anyone?
No, it does
Oh,
not.
I wish I would have had that.
Yeah, it was like I hadn't heard of these guys. I think Michelini did collabs with like 4 different breweries, and then there was like a 4-pack that went out.
Bad thing about Michelini is it's a hard word to spell. If you've never
Is
spelled
it
it.
Yeah.
Matt What are we saying that right?
It's like spelling Matt Brynildson, like
Brynildson,
San Luis Obispo. It's Brynildson. Is it Brynildson or is it Sen? Is it Y or an I? Like, you don't know. You had to look it up every time.
So yeah, they did a beer in 2021 called Welcome to Alpine. It was a collab with Pat and Sean Michelini. I think right before Michelini Brewing opened.
Oh my gosh, you just reminded me that I hated Liquid Gravity for a little while. Oh, dang it.
Oh, why?
Uh-oh.
They did a second so they did the Welcome to series, and they did their first 4 beers, which were great, and then they did a second release, and there was a collab with Zach I think he was he at Shred already? Anyways, they put the beers out, and you could order them online, and I ordered mine, and it took them 3 weeks to ship it, and I asked them to cancel my order just because I was like, I didn't want to be that guy who was like, I don't want 3-week-old beer, but I wanted it to like drink it really, really fresh. They waited 3 weeks to ship my beer, and then it took like a week and a half to get here. So by the time I got it, it was like a month and a half old. I'm like, dude, fuck.
Really?
So I was like, I'm never buying Liquid Gravity beer again.
That's crazy.
I was like sending emails, nobody responded. I was like, dang it. And so, yeah.
These shipped
That's
like within,
Yeah.
I want to say 12 hours of me ordering. Like that morning they shipped.
Yeah.
People got
no,
it
these
down.
came super fast. Yeah.
Yeah, so how did we get on them? It's just they came up when we were talking about slow.
I think so.
Yeah, I think we were I forgot. I think it was discussing
It was during
what we
the
wanted to do.
TD&E show, right?
Yeah, it was definitely during the There Does Not Exist
Yeah,
show.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what do we know about them? Because I didn't do any research.
Neither did
Does
I.
anybody?
Greg, did you do any research?
I looked on Google Maps where they're located, and
Okay.
I did a street view of
That's something.
their charming little brewery up in San Luis Obispo.
I've been there.
And,
It's nice.
Yeah, it's on a cool little street.
Are they across from a mobile home park, Greg?
They sure as fuck are. Right there. Then they're vintage too. It's not like like so, your grandpa and grandma living. It's like a hipster,
Nice.
old school RV park. That's I don't know. We should go check it out sometime. Let's roll it to slow.
Their brewery's really cool. They have a little stage. They do live music in there and stuff. It's like an indoor-outdoor space. It's in San Luis, so the weather's always good. So.
Yeah, and it looks like they just bought another brewery up because if you search them on Google Maps, 2 locations come up now, and one up north in San Luis Obispo looks like it's from another place. Like the street view shows another brewery there, so it looks maybe recent.
Is it the
there are other locations in Orchid. Yeah.
Speaking of buying breweries, if anybody wants to be my work neighbor, Helia Brewing in Vista is for sale right now.
I didn't even heard of it.
Literally,
looks like Santa
shares
Maria.
a fence.
They don't even have they're weirdly. I'm looking on their website. Usually, breweries will have like an about us or something.
Nothing. No.
They're like, hey, our liquid, we just keep dropping it on the ground, and they're like, what should we call the brewery?
About us. Fuck you. Come hang out. You'll find out.
Newton's Brewery? No, that's too lame. Newton's? No.
All right, we got an article in Beer Paper, so let me skim and figure out. We have a.
Oh.
You should have AI'd it and just been like, tell us about Liquid Gravity.
Brendan Go,
Just kidding.
Gough, Go, I don't know.
Ben Gough.
Brendan Go,
He's related
Brendan
to Van Gogh.
and Celeste. It looks like.
Abundanza.
Hey. Hey.
Okay, so we've learned nothing so far about Liquid Gravity, but we do know their beer is good because Joe's had their beer before. So we're going to start off with naturally. We had to order 6 different
Lager.
4-packs to get a case shipped. So we're starting off with their lager. And got some info here on the lager. Not much. It's 5.4% alcohol, and that's all it says on Untapped as far as I could
It
tell.
looks like a Munich Helles.
So some interesting bits that I'm real-time gleaning out of this beer paper article. They won a GABF Gold in 2015 for Monterey Street Pale Ale. 2016 World Beer Cup Gold for Lucky Day IPA. 2016 GABF Gold for General Schwartz beer. GABF Silver for Monterey Pale Ale. So the Monterey Pale seems like it's their big winner.
On Untapped, if you click on the brewery on Untapped, it gives you the overall rating of the brewery, and they have a 3.97 overall rating, which is pretty great for a
That is pretty good.
overall rating. Like, that's nice.
That's real nice.
It's really nice, John. I like that we're doing a skimming the surface of San Luis Obispo with previous shows in this.
It's a good spot for beer, man.
Central Coast Brewing was where those other metals were from. And then the person who founded this brewery was from there, and he now then started the Liquid Gravity a couple years ago.
Okay.
Aha. Cool.
Does it say when did you say they started? What year was it?
I want to say it's like 2020. Like they're just a few years old.
Dude, so it was right in the middle. So, oh yeah, that makes sense. It would be shipping beers like we just opened and then everything shut down. So we got to stay alive.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, interesting Helles. What do you guys think?
Joe mentioned that, I think, before we started that it smelled sweet. I'm not really getting that. And I was not really in the mood for a sweet lager. I talked about that on last week's episode. For me, this is just really clean, really tasty, really crisp, a little bready, but it doesn't smell sweet. I mean, it's a very well done lager.
I definitely get the bready thing. It's so bready. And surprisingly, it's got a little bit of a bitterness kick for a Helles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bite to it.
Yeah, it's very champagne-like, I think. Like when I first poured it, it just hit my glass like champagne does. It kind of like exploded in head and kind of really quickly retracted like champagne does.
My head went away pretty much.
There is a little bit of that green apple-y flavor.
Thank you. Gosh, I didn't want to say anything, but
Not
thank you.
necessarily. I don't take it as an off flavor per se.
No.
I don't think it's hurting it, but there is a little tiny hint of that in this beer.
Yep.
I was going to tell you when I opened my can, it smelled like a Granny Smith. That's the green one, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what it smelled like to me, which I perceived as sweetness, but it doesn't taste like that.
I do get a hint of it on the back of the palate, like that green apple-y flavor.
I'm
But
saying it
again,
smelled
in a way
green
that it works. This is a liter beer for sure. I could
You
drink a liter
know,
of it.
I do get that green apple thing, and not in like a
Jolly Rancher.
what's the off thing for apple? Is that
Acetaldehyde.
Acetaldehyde, yeah.
Yeah, it's not in that kind of way. It's like in a very nice, bright way.
It's like a fruity sweetness.
Yeah, I get more of like those like Jolly Ranchers, those apple Johnny Rancher. Just a hint though, just a kiss. Just a
But
little kiss.
you're right, Greg. Like there's a little bit of like a bitterness on the finish of that.
Right? For a Helles, it's like it cleans up.
It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, pretty good. Good start to the show.
I mean, if you could pull off a Helles, you can pull off any beer in my mind. That's like the bean and cheese burrito at any Mexican restaurant test.
Dude, have you seen the guy on there's like a social media dude who does every day a different bean and cheese burrito, like trying to find the best bean and cheese burrito. It's
Really?
the best thing. Yeah, he goes
That's
everywhere.
I've done that in my 20s.
Bean and
I'm a
cheese
big fan
burritos, they aren't that easy to make. Because it's all about the beans. You know, you got to get the right flavors in the beans.
You
I
got to
agree.
get the right cheese and the right tortillas.
Hey.
Miguel's Jr. is a good, like, easily accessible bean and cheese burrito that you can get everywhere.
Miguel's Jr. I've never
Yeah,
heard
do
of
you guys
that.
have Miguel's Jr. down
Yeah,
there?
we do.
San Diego?
I don't.
Don't bother. They have lard in the beans, Joe. So,
Oh,
but it is a good burrito. I'll give you
Big
that.
if true.
I mean, lard probably makes it.
Yeah.
It
Dude,
does.
I had fucking sombreros when I was down there for the first time a few months ago. It was bad.
Dude, that's the best part about that is it's like shitty punk rock music and shitty Mexican food, but it's good.
It
just
makes
works.
sense that Blink would like a shitty Mexican spot.
But they only ate bean. What was it?
There's
Bean
better
rice and cheese
locations
burritos?
than Sombreros.
Which sombrero did you go to, Jason?
I don't know. I just got it.
Spring Valley has a really good one.
I was pretty close to Qualcomm, and I just got it on
Oh,
like
yeah,
fucking
that's the one. Yep,
Grubhub or whatever.
that's the one we used to hang out. My wife had a apartment over there, and we used to go over there all the time, just because.
Just
Yeah,
because.
just because. We had to, dude. You know what's weird? I had to explain like long distance to the kid the other day. I was like, in the old days, it used to cost money to call people who were far away.
Call 0 on your dial rotary phone.
In the context of phone phreaking, I was like, we were talking about like hacking and stuff, and I was like, well, this used to be a thing to get free long distance. Hold on. So long distance.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling the kids, because I'm in the cellular world as far as work goes, like there used to be a thing where it was nights and weekends free, so you had to wait till a certain time to make cell phone calls, and you didn't have to pay for them.
You had to pay per text
like,
message.
I'd tell my girlfriend, I'd be like, I can't call you until after 5 o'clock. I'm sorry. Money's a little tight this month.
You're like 1976.
There was a weird thing that happened when I lived with my parents. I was on their house phone, and somehow our like lines got mixed up, and I was listening to phone calls from different people. So
That's awesome.
I would listen to, and I could talk to them too. So I would sit there and just be quiet and listen, and that phone call would end, and then I'd immediately get patched in on another phone call. It was bizarre, but I was on the phone for like 3
You're
hours.
like a therapist, dude.
Hello.
And then
Martha?
I would like while I was listening, I'd randomly say things like "what," and then someone would like repeat what they said, and like it was like kind of like a Howard Stern. What's that thing that Sal does? The confusion phone calls where they're placing 2 orders and they're talking to each other. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the best, dude.
It was kind of it was really cool. But then I finally hung up and it went away.
Close to that, I got I was at a Barnes and Noble earlier, and there was an old lady yelling into her cell phone for a good 20 minutes, just like, the doctor says I have the diabetes and I need to exercise. And I told him that I go to work, but he said work isn't exercise, so I guess I need to do different exercise. So it's kind of like your experience.
Same kind of thing.
I swear to God, sometimes you go out shopping and you're surrounded by NPCs, right?
Dude.
Like, how are these people real? How is this real?
I was
What are you
like
doing?
across the goddamn store, and it's a Barnes and Noble. It's a pretty big store, and I'm just hearing this lady like yelling about her diabetes, and she said diabetes like Wilford Brimley. It was
The
fucking
beatus
great.
will get you.
And those are like
the Beatles.
you kind of treat bookstores like a library. I mean, not as quiet, but like you know, because
course.
people are it's kind of a low key atmosphere. So for someone to just be screaming on their phone, that's pretty funny.
She's just like, oh, there's free chairs here, anyways. So we doing the crispy life, boys?
Yeah. Up next, we're
Yeah.
drinking Crispy Life. This is their 4.8% alcohol by volume Pilsner. They don't have any information on Untappd.
They do. There's a little bit on their website. So it
Okay.
is a traditional German-style Pilsner brewed with Saphir and Tettnang hops, and tasting notes.
Does it say anything about tasting like bread?
No.
Bread.
Speaking of long distance calls, that sounded like a dial tone. This beer does not smell like green apples.
This one's got more of a bitter bite to it for me.
It's bready bitter bread.
Earthy, a little bit on the flavor.
Look at you, earthy. I like it. Wet hay,
What is that? It's like
sugar coated lemongrass.
sugar cookies.
I'm just checking out the nose. It's definitely got those earthy, like Tettnang, earthy herbal. And Saphir is also up in that vein of like super earthy herbal.
Yeah, it's got that dank, hoppy character of a European Pilsner.
Yeah, okay.
Not like it kind of is a little bit bordering towards the Czech Pilsner style, but I feel like it's more in line with it's definitely more hop character than I expect out of a German Pils. What do you think, Greg? You're the German expert.
I think it's more fruity too, which I don't know what I would attribute that to. Maybe the malt.
Maybe
I don't know if they're using
Saphir hop? Or I don't know, what's Saphir hop?
Saphir is like what Pivo Pils uses. It's sort of like a Saaz sort of knockoff. I don't know. It's very German, noble, European, continental hop that has checks all those boxes of earthy, floral, herbal.
Listening to you guys say Saphir over and over, like, how come nobody's ever brewed a beer called Tupac Saphir? It needs to happen.
I don't know, but back when Matt was on the show, we'd have like a list of beer names that we would keep in the back of our heads, and that would be a good one for sure.
I don't know why my brain went there.
And then you have to release the beer in 2-packs. So
Are you guys detecting any zesty, citrusy, and herbal hop character?
Herbal for sure.
oh, for sure, yeah.
Do you get
It's
citrusy?
very chamomile tea almost.
How about a
Just
soft graham
lemongrass?
cracker malt presence and a crispy scratch that extra crispy finish?
It's very crispy.
Greg dropping chamomile. Little Gwen Stefani just sipping on chamomile.
No,
That's
so
Miguel.
these are interesting trying them back to back. You know what's weird is I would tell you this beer is hoppier than the first one, but then going back to the first one and then back, it's actually tastes about similar.
Drinking
Maybe
them
they're
back to
combining in my head.
side by side, I think I prefer the first one more, the Helles. I don't know why.
Same. Yeah.
It's
This
a little
one-
bit more crushable. This one's a bit more challenging, I think, for a pilsner.
It feels a bit more like flavorful too, if that makes sense. That's just kind of like a bland descriptor, I know, but it just seems like a more flavorful beer.
Yeah, I wonder what the yeast is that they're using.
I don't. Maybe that's what has to do with it. But I'm getting. It's like super fruity for me, and I don't like it. I mean, I think it's a good beer, but I don't like the level of fruit that I'm getting off of it, and that's what's making it challenging for me.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet now that I'm drinking it after the regular lager, the Helles.
I quite dig it.
I keep saying sweet like fruity. My words are not used well.
Would you say citrusy?
Estery. Yeah, citrusy.
Not with two S's, though. Then it's weird.
Yeah, their description says it has an herbal hop character. I definitely get that too. More on the nose, I think. An earthy nose, yeah, and I wouldn't buy this again. It's not for me. It's not a bad beer. It's just not for me. I want something that's a little more flat and dialed down for, at least that's how I feel right now. Tomorrow, maybe I'll.
What's surprising is I drink a lot of Bitburger because it's cheap and it's delicious. And you'd be surprised how hoppy that beer is. Going from just like a local, like even a West Coast or Italian Pils or something like that, and you bust open a Bitburger, and it's so freaking like so hoppy. It's like hay and fresh cut grass, and but it's so clean and very crisp. And I think that's something that a lot of like local pilsners just sort of miss, that razor thin line of how crisp and clean those lagers can get. It's not bad, but it's fine.
The polarizing thing on this beer is going to be that the hop character like lingers on your back palate after you drank it. Like it's been a second since I took a sip of this beer, but it's still hanging out on the palate. Like it's not a lager that just gets out of the way and is there to be like crushed. Like it is a beer that is like, no, I'm here. There's hop presence here. And in an old school way, like a classic European kind of hop bitterness, not like, the chat just mentioned Timbo, like not in that modern way we're using the modern varietals. So it's a little bit challenging for the style.
And I would say that the one thing is the bitterness really hangs out for a really long time.
It does. It lingers quite a bit. Yeah.
Hanging around.
All right, crispy life. I'm over.
Greg, you got a little bit of like a hum happening when you talk.
Yeah. I think it's my fan here.
Hey.
Is it?
Sorry,
Can you
it's
turn
hot
it
in
down
here.
a little bit?
I did.
Okay.
I'm also a fan, Greg.
He's got his
Big
vibe.
fan.
He's got his vibe going.
I turned the fan off.
Knock it down.
I'm a big fan.
I was just
Greg.
seeing how long I can get away with it, honestly.
I've heard it for like the last 10 minutes, but I'm like, okay. Because I thought maybe it was something that was in the background that would go away, but
John, it's hot here.
I'm great. It's like 70 degrees in my house.
At the 24-minute mark, make a note that I turned my fan off.
I have a little button under my desk here that turns on the air conditioner to 68 degrees when I'm getting hot in my room. And it's, it's pretty cool.
I just yell at the Google machine to do that.
I could do that too, but
Cool. The
Hey,
fuck down.
hey, Google, 68.
Hey! Well, not 68. Holy fuck.
Hey, Google, 69.
I thought I kept my house cold, but Jesus, 68.
You walk in, John's like, "Can I get you a sweatshirt?"
Oh my God, Google's talking to me.
well, it's upstairs. So, and this room,
so that each person's mouth is near the other's genitals, so that each partner can simultaneously
What is
perform
happening?
oral sex on the other.
what the fuck?
My phone just answered
because you
my
said
question.
69.
Yeah, I said, hey, Google, set it to 69.
It's fantastic.
Hey, Google,
Holy smokes!
set it to 69.
The other person's genitals can.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Google.
Sure. Okay.
Google explained
Google's
the
fucking
That's the
69.
funniest shit, dude.
Google's patronizing you right now. Yeah, sure, I'll do that, dude.
I love that. I love that the picture had just a big 69 on it in pink. Like what? That's where the other person puts their genitals and the other person in each other's mouth.
At the
Why
same
is 69?
time.
Like, why did it put a 6 and a 9? You know, I mean, I understand what a 69 is, but why did they have to put the actual numbers on?
Well,
That's so
they got to give you an
weird.
image.
Uh,
of it, you know.
Illustrated, dude.
I guess they do
Well,
have to give you.
They could have put like a picture of people actually doing it with stick figures or something.
Between that and the beer we got coming up later, we got all the funny numbers.
Oh my god!
Are we doing the pale ale next, you guys? I feel like
blood
this
orange. Blood orange.
Is, how are we on a fucking
I
fourth
can't
show on our first show?
Dude, by the way, have you guys noticed that none of these cans are dated? Like,
I
that just
did
has
notice
a
that.
weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that, dude. I don't like it.
No,
I have something on
And
the
I don't
bottom
want to
of
be
mine.
that guy,
What's
but
it say?
fuck, man.
that should be an industry standard at this point.
It has
I
to
can't
be.
even talk right. Oh,
Dude, dates on cans and ABV. It has to happen. It just has to.
I would say mine has a 243. I would assume this or
But what is the 066
243. I would think it
BOW?
would be made in March of 24.
What's the other stuff?
I'm guessing.
066 BOW?
It's probably like some weird canning thing.
Yeah, that's dumb. Tell me when the
75
fucking beer was
till 299. I don't know.
Wait, yours says 299?
Yeah.
Well, there goes that theory, Greg.
This other one has a 24 in it. And it look for the number 24.
John's was brewed in September of 2029. Did you know that?
Future beer.
Holy shit. In the year 2000.
That's exactly right, Joe. Fucking put a date on the can, guys.
So the IPA has a date on mine. It's
That's good. Way to go, Liquid Gravity.
for something 2024. Maybe they just added that.
April? No, that can't be right. We just bought those.
I mean, none of these have tasted old. The first two tasted very fresh, so.
Ooh, this looks fruity. It's got that blood orange.
Dude, this smells orangey.
So they describe this blood orange wheat as a refreshing wheat beer that favors hoppy notes over yeast character.
I would agree with that.
Oh.
This is very refreshing, and I like that it doesn't smell artificial.
Wow, this looks orange. Jesus. Am I?
Yep.
Holy
Watch
moly.
language.
I don't know if that comes. No, it just looks like beer on the camera.
Yeah. You
Looks
can
like
definitely
beer.
tell there's there's an orange sort of hue to it.
Yeah.
Like a not blood orange, but definitely you get that like blood orange character in there, which kind of comes across as like
Ooh.
a caramelized honey note almost.
I like the nose of this beer, dude. I think it smells
Honeysuckle.
good,
Mm-hmm.
especially in warm.
Definitely.
Like this is a good warm weather beer.
Man, I wish more people made like flavored wheat beers again because they're so
Mhm.
refreshing in the summer.
When's the last time you had an orange whit beer?
Dude,
I would say-
ODub back in like 2012.
Dude, I went to a Logan's Roadhouse the other day, because those rolls are amazing. But the their beer selection was like fucking weird as shit. It was like 6 lagers and Hangar 24 orange wheat. It was like the Salty Life lager, the fucking Stone lager, the American Pilsner or whatever.
The Salty
it
Crew lager?
Salty Crew, there you go. Yeah, that one. The one that like boat bros wear.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boat Bros.
It's weird how those things catch on. Like, just, it's so random. Like, it's like everyone with their Yeti stickers. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. And I understand
Well,
if you get and like that and like the 805 stickers. Stickers are brilliant because you just seem like there's no reference to anything. You see Yeti. That's a
Yeti's like a middle class status symbol. It's like, yeah, I
I
can
know.
afford a $300 cooler.
yeah.
Jason, I think you and I were kind of saying when John said he was going to get this beer, we're like, no, don't do that because we're going to shit on it. I think was it this beer, but it's good. I like this.
I
beer.
mean, yeah, I kind of feel like orange wheat it's a style that was everywhere. Like orange wheat beers were everywhere. And now
then
it's
came the flavored IPAs.
And then when we went to the dive bar in Orange County, they're like, we'll sell you a fucking 32-ounce shock top for $6.
yeah.
Please take this away. We need to get rid of it.
Totally.
Did orange wheat beers come from like people just brewing wheat beers and then throwing oranges in it? Everyone's like, well, why do we have to put an orange slice in it? Let's just put orange in the beer. Or is
It came from Hangar 24, who their brewery is literally in the middle of an orange field in Redlands, California. And then, they bought I don't know, just all the crappy looking fruit, dumped it in there, and they're like, this is pretty good.
It's not bad.
And it was, when it first came out, it was delicious.
To delve very deep into Inland Empire beer history, Hanger and Inland Empire Brewing Company were some of the old, like, first guys in town back. That's actually back where John and I first met.
Yeah, we met at Inland Empire Brewing Company.
Inland Empire Brewing, and both of them were big on the like orange heritage of the area for sure. But I think orange in wheat beer grew out of, at the time, you know, your Pyramids, your Blue Moons, your Widmer hefts were popular and everywhere, and the whole big thing was serving it with an orange slice, which I don't see that much anymore.
No.
When's the last time you got served a beer with an orange slice in it?
Never an orange, always a lemon with a hef. When I grew up, you know, drinking beers through the, you know, late 90s and early 2000s, and they were always pretty good. You know, it didn't rely on the lemon to make the beer taste good. It was just like when you drink it and it comes to your nose, you smell a nice citrus thing, and it was pleasant.
With a Belgian wit, right, which Blue Moon is a play on a Belgian wit, orange peel, right, is part of the recipe, like the bitter orange peel. So there is an orange character to the beer traditionally. And I think in true American brewer fashion, they just were kind of like, what if we gave it all the oranges in the world?
Yeah, Refuge was the second one that I had. That was a blood orange beer as well.
Just gonna bring that up.
And that beer kicked ass.
They were
beer
big in
was
the
good
area,
packaging.
fantastic.
First to release one in a pint. Oh man, that beer was so delicious.
Yeah, they recently closed too. Well, I don't know if they closed. I know they closed their tasting room. I don't know if they closed the brewery itself. Owners of Refuge also were they owned SS Brewtech, and I think Brewtech, obviously SS Brewtech took off like immensely.
Yeah, for sure.
They started off
brewing
making
standard
homebrew equipment, and then they moved into the professional space. And like the brewery that was at Refuge, the dude designed it himself and manufactured it like in China, and it was 100% his equipment.
That was a cool brewery.
Beer Patrol in chat mentioned a couple old school ones, like Buffalo Bill's Orange Blossom Cream Ale.
You can still buy that at Trader Joe's, I think.
And Lost Coast Tangerine Wheat, which that one was everywhere for a minute. And
that was pretty good.
Yeah, Lost Coast in general, I feel like they used to be on tap everywhere. That Great White was, you know, they had
ubiquitous.
That cool tap handle with the shark on it.
Mm-hmm. So you can still find that every now and then.
This beer definitely has a lot of blood orange on it, but for me, it's coming off a little too sweet, and I kind of miss like the wheat ale part of it. You brought up Refuge, Greg, and their blood orange wit. For me, that was, when I say it was good, it was like a really good wheat ale, but with like just the blood orange as like a supporting character and not like the feature. Even though it says blood orange wheat or whatever, it was more of a, I don't know. It wasn't like right up front. It was the perfect balance, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
It had mouthfeel from the citrus too, like a little pulpy.
I'm not getting hop or yeast character out of this beer. To go back to their description, it's really just feels like a delivery for the orangey flavor, right? That kind of fruit flavor.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It's a good, summery beer. Which I do feel like people say that about beers that they're being dismissive of. You're like, well, it sucks dick, but on a hot day after you've been mowing the lawn, it's pretty good. Which I don't, but
after you're 69ing all day.
Yeah.
Watch your language, Greg.
Putting somebody's genitals in your mouth. I will say that this beer does have like a little kick of that like baby aspirin flavor to it, which I'm not fond of. That flavored tablets for kids.
Does this come off like not authentic blood orange, like more of like a
it seems like a puree sort of puree thing.
No, I mean like what the not the puree, but the not the concentrate, the what am I trying to say? The company that makes those flavorings.
The Amaretti or whatever.
Yeah, Amaretti.
Oh, okay. It comes off artificial to me, and I think
it's
maybe
because it didn't smell artificial. But you're right. Like when I first opened it and smelled it, I'm like, wow, this actually smells like orange. Like it didn't smell like car freshener. Like we were talking about that a couple shows ago. Like it smelled like a car freshener.
And I think that's usually a sign that it's the artificial stuff when it's like liberally that fruit. Like it's like, oh, that smells exactly like the fruit. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you can get away with using that stuff, but it seems like this is too much, and I'm not getting enough beer.
You can also tell when there's that stuff in using a beer because it clings in your glass after it's empty.
Oh, that's
Like,
right. I
you
got to
just
use
can't
a new
get rid
glass
of it.
now. Shit. Oh, well.
Like it'll clog up a beer line. Like your beer line's going to taste like that orange.
Yeah, don't use that
you
fake
know.
stuff, man. That's I'm not saying that's what they did here, but it sure seems like it. I mean,
People like it's expensive to brew with real fruit, right?
it is, and I get like how you want to, subsidize that, and like with the coconut beer that Barley Forge did, where they literally could not use all coconut because it would soak up the liquid, and it was a complete waste of money. So, supplementing that with something, artificial or whatever. It's not artificial, but concentrate or whatever the hell. I can't think of the word. The puree,
Puree,
mixing that into the deal just to get more
Aseptic
yield.
puree.
I totally understand that.
And what's funny is the brewery after Barley Forge that came in there happened to make a beer identical to that that didn't use any flavorings. That was delicious. So
Green Cheek?
yeah,
The thing is, though, for the person buying the blood orange wheat, like, dude, I don't think they're buying for like that buyer isn't going for like authentic fruit flavor. They're just kind of looking for something that tastes fruity and not super beery, right?
yeah, this beer has an audience, right? So you're at the brewery with your mom or your grandma or something
Sure.
like that, and you're like,
You gotta
here's
get that blood orange sweet beer.
like here's
I want some of that blood orange.
Sonny, could you give me some of that orange? The blood orange sweet. That sounds so refreshing on a hot day. Nana's been through a lot today
I
shopping
love this
with all
blood
the little
orange.
kids today. Oh,
It's getting close to pineapple Brett, Greg.
pineapple bread.
Watch out.
Give me some of that pineapple bread beer. It's Grandma Brett. Nana Brett.
Did not like that beer. I will not be finishing that can.
John hates
Wow.
that beer. What shitty beer are we drinking next, John?
Up next from Liquid Gravity,
I'm
we
eating
are
some
drinking
tacos.
Pale from the Crypt, which
Hail from the Crypt.
has a cool Tales from the Crypt kind of logo
All right.
thing going on. Speaking of IP theft.
This is not IP theft, and that's actually fascinating because I swear we talked about this before, but no, the EC Comics logo on there, that's actually the people who own Tales from the Crypt. And if you read on
Is
the
this
back
a
of
collab, Jason?
they actually licensed it, which is weird
Whoa.
because the rights for Tales from the Crypt are like weirdly in constant litigation hell. So I swear we talked about this on the show.
We
'cause
did,
I think
yeah.
I drank this beer and we talked about this.
Yeah, that
But,
says Tales from the Crypt, issue number 46 from March of 1955.
But yeah, they actually, I guess maybe the license issues are regarding it in television or whatever, so they're able to license it for this. But they actually worked with EC Comics and got the Tales from the Crypt license, which is challenging, to say the least.
Liquid Gravity, I apologize for my comment.
They did not thieve the IP. They went to a lot of effort.
We got some head retention here, boys.
Also, cool-ass label.
Super cool. Reminds me of staying up late when I was little watching Tales from the Crypt on HBO.
Oh, and we got some really nice smelling beer.
I mean, so we've learned from that article that we're dealing with a brewer that won a bunch of GABF medals for pale ale. So
But yeah, you can tell.
Oh,
isn't it?
moly.
the aroma on this is fucking massive.
Wow.
I know.
Holy
I will
shit.
say this is a different glass too for my blood orange glass.
That
Super
is some
citrusy.
hops right there.
And it's got a little bit of that mosaic dankness.
Oh, that's
Citra
got some
mosaic.
stinky.
The
like
aroma
cat
on that
piss.
is nuts.
Oh my god.
It's got some stinky.
No, it's like
It's got that
Stanky
fermented
cat
cheese,
piss.
John.
oh,
It's got that 69 aroma.
that is a smelly beer. Wow.
Smelly cat.
Greg hasn't been weirdly horny on the show in a while, so it's good that Google brought
I'm
it
just
back
doing
for him.
callbacks, you guys. Is that all right? Callbacks from
Dude,
our
it's
Google,
summertime, dude. Greg's
our
feeling it.
Google
I like
joke.
it.
Sorry, Gia, who's watching probably.
Do we do they
We're gonna
say
call
what
him.
hops are in this?
Citra mosaic on the can.
I'm like, how can I unlock the mystery of what fucking hops are in this beer? Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I'm so giggly.
First show,
that
fourth
69 thing got me. Dude.
Dude,
This is funny, dude.
aren't Kegels
What
what,
a-
women do? Like, yeah.
Kegels.
I do them all the time. I'm
Greg
doing them right
Kegel.
now. I do Kegels constantly.
That's Greg's horny name, dude. Greg
You
Kegel.
gotta capture your
Greg Kegel.
your butthole energy as you're sitting there somehow.
Men should do Kegels too. Help that prostate
Holy
out, man.
smokes.
Just
Capture that
squeeze it.
butthole energy. That's the name of the show.
Yeah, we're not getting that retweet. Like, the Liquid Gravity boys are going to be like, first they shit on those loggers quite a bit. They had a whole weird 69 fucking
Sorry about
sidebar.
that was. How did they even come about? You're talking about 68 degrees.
Talk about the thermostat. Yeah. How I set mine to 68
know.
when I'm upstairs. Speaking of which, it's fucking hot. God.
Yeah, and then you told your robot to like make it 69 or something, and it's like, make what? And so it was just like, all right, put your dick in a mouth and then your mouth on a dick. So
That
there
is
you go.
definitely something that would not happen with Siri. Like, I'm sure there are multiple roadblocks to that being a possible answer.
No doubt.
Ugh.
Good beer though. Holy shit! I'm gonna keep this on my radar.
This beer's good, dude. I like it.
What's the ABV?
5.5, I believe.
Okay,
That's
Oh,
wild, dude. It's super
fucking
like
rad.
intense for that low of an ABV.
Hops aside, it's got like a nice soft like aroma to it. I don't know if that I've said that before, and I don't know if that makes sense to other people, but like it's not like a brash, like sharp hop bite on the nose. It's
It
very
smells like
like
something
fluffy.
that's soft.
Yeah, it does. Like pillows smell soft, I guess.
So, you know
It
what's
smells like a
interesting
pillow.
is the Hoppy Pilsner is really having a moment right now. We fucking love them, right? And a lot of people will say, well, isn't that just a fucking pale ale, but something different? But this, while it has that big hop burst, like that hop profile of like a Timbo or, the stuff from Green Cheek we tried or whatever.
Yep.
There is more body on this, and there is more of a malt profile where it does taste like a pale ale versus just being like a hoppy lager, right?
Mm-hmm.
It also says on the can they use torrefied wheat in the malt bill and caramel
okay.
malt. Wow, these
Gives
Wow.
it just a little
Yeah.
kick of body and sweetness.
caramel
Love it.
malt making a rare appearance in a beer.
I'm saying
And you
that
can tell with that head, dude. That head is like boof.
but the
It's-
color
it's,
wouldn't. Does it look dark to you, John?
No, it looks it's still
No,
very
it's
pale.
very light.
Yeah.
Remember those old school caramel malt bombs that were just like red ales?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Northwest, the old school Northwest IPA and pale ale, right? But this is a world class pale ale. This is fucking great.
I'm gonna say I've had this beer before, and I think I must have had an older can because it was not like this beer at all. Unless something changed and they changed the recipe, I have no idea. This is nothing like the beer that I remember having.
Talk
The
about a
Crypt Keeper
balanced
came out and
beer.
made a beer.
Yeah, I mean the bitterness to sweetness ratio on this is perfect. It's not like a lingering bitterness. It's bitter enough to kind of clean everything up, but still be not even challenging. Just like make
Yeah.
it semi-crushable. It's
I like
You know
that
what's
it's
funny
hoppy
is-
enough to scratch that IPA itch. You know.
yeah.
This is a huge hop character, but the hops don't linger. Unlike the Pilsner earlier, where the hops just hang out on your palate. This cleans up really well.
Yeah, this is really good.
Really fucking good. Holy
I don't
shit.
want to drink anything else after this. Like, let's
Yeah,
just
I'm
end the
gonna
show
order
here.
some more of this.
This is really good.
I'm gonna get a tattoo of this. Just
Yeah,
like Joe.
I went-
Do it, dude.
I went back and tried the Crispy Life after this, and it's still real bitey compared to this beer.
bitey.
It's got like that hop bite where this
It's using the teeth.
where the hops in this are just huge flavor, huge aroma, not a lot of bitter. What a fucking great beer.
Yeah,
Wow.
for me, the theme on this beer is soft. It has that, again, I think that's the wheat character coming out on the aroma for me, but just totally like just a gentle pale ale, like but super hoppy on the aroma, like incredibly hoppy. It's deceitfully hoppy, like it smells like an IPA, but it's not.
You're like, how did they get all that in there?
Yeah,
right?
dude, as a home brewer, serious. Well, I've said it before where this doesn't have that, but like, you know how, I don't know if Joe's ever brewed a beer, but when you open a bag of pellet hops and how that smells, like Firestone Walker is really good at capturing that essence in their aromas on their beers with hops. And I think to myself when I smell those, like, how the hell did they do that? Because I've made IPA and double, triple dry hopped, and I don't get that. Like, it's incredible. And this,
Dude,
this
when's the
has
last
that.
time you finished a beer and had like a centimeter of head at the bottom of the glass?
There you
That's
go.
crazy.
What kind of dish soap do you use, Greg? Just out of curiosity, because your glassware kicks ass.
I wash these with vinegar water. I actually douche my glass for the show.
I use Summer's Eve to wash my glassware.
My glasses.
You really
have
do
that
use vinegar, though?
not so fresh feeling.
Greg
really
is the
do that,
biggest
Greg?
douche on the show. Confirmed.
No, I'll put 50-50 vinegar and water in my sink with a hot, and
Do you-
then
do you use
put
a
all my
douche
beer
bag?
glasses in there. I could put a bag in the sink and then
Oh God, this is
douche
off the
my
rails.
glasses. But yeah, it's really effective at cleaning glassware
Okay.
because we're really
When,
hard water here.
When I was in sex ed in middle school, we had this like old Jewish lady science teacher, and the only memory I have of it was her saying, "Don't do the douche."
What?
She just said, "Don't do the douche."
Why
had
did
this,
she
like,
say that?
Funny, like I think you're not supposed to. I think it's good for you. It was like a thing in the '80s, but like people stopped doing it because it's not healthy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dick douche.
Anyhow, they have a fun quote from the EC Comics people, and I can't help but read it in the Crypt Keeper's voice.
Go for it.
And let's do that for you guys now. Pale from the Crypt is a dream come brew for EC. The people behind Liquid Gravity are big EC fan addicts, and they've poured so much love into this product. There you go.
Very
Kind of
good,
turned
very
into
good.
the Joker there, but it did okay.
Yeah,
Very
I
good,
like
Jason. Very good.
Yeah.
You got the clap.
Boils and ghouls.
You got the clip.
Yeah, I've got the clap from the douche.
Yeah, incredible beer. Very, very good. Liquid Gravity. I am
So
massively
good.
impressed. And if this is your pale ale, then I'm looking forward to our next beer, which is their
So we have 2 IPAs.
straight up West Coast IPA.
There we
Yeah, we
go.
have 2 IPAs. One's a collab they did with Market, but
Dude,
right now we're
I
drinking the IPA.
do not want to like hype this beer too much, but the first time I ever had this beer, it was fucking awesome. So
I've got
hopefully it's
a-
good still.
I've got a hat of this hop logo that I really like. I got at the brewery. Really
Oh.
nice.
How is their brewery? Did you tell us like what it's actually like being in there?
Yeah, it's nice. They have an indoor area. They have a cooler full of like non-alcoholic stuff. They have a bunch of beers on tap. I think they do I've really liked the modern trend of breweries where they do like light, dark, hoppy, and like a couple other categories, but they sort the beers
yeah.
that way. I really think that's a good way to display beer.
Same.
And they had an outdoor stage that's really nice. They had live music there. It's a cool spot. It was a really chill place. Crowd was cool. The staff was cool. Really fucking chill. If you're in slow, these guys and There Does Not Exist are both dope.
Look at that
Look
head.
at that head.
The head
I'm
is
telling
just
you, I was joking
2
about Greg's,
fingers.
vinegar cleaning
You got to
thing,
get the what's going on the bottom of the. I'm pointing at my screen. What's going on the bottom of your fucking glass, Greg? Got to get that vinegar. No, you got your finger over it now. There you
Well,
go.
what
See?
bottom thing, yeah.
Yeah, see? Where's the vinegar now? You got to douche that
And that's
glass,
from the
dude.
previous beer. Previous beer was in there. What's the name of this beer? I'm sorry.
IPA.
It's just called IPA.
Oh, okay. It's called IPA. It's got an IPA in it.
So as far as the nose, not nearly as powerful as the pale ale, but still very good.
It's a
Like,
way different hop.
Different
This
vibes.
beer-
It's still
definitely.
powerful.
They list this beer as a GABF 2023 winner.
Oh, that makes sense because when I had this, I loved it. This smells Simcoe heavy to me though, but I don't know.
It's got that dank
Is it-
asparagus.
It's got like a caddy. Mine smells caddy too. Is there Simcoe in this, Jason? Does it show on the website?
It does not. Is it in a giant inset on the can that I missed?
Does it say? Oh, here we go. Tropical fruit from a heavy dose of Mosaic, Citra, and Simcoe.
Oh, there you go. Simcoe.
Yeah.
We did it. We did it.
We came
So-
together.
They won a bronze in American style strong pale ale
Okay.
for this beer.
American style strong pale ale.
Yeah, they also won gold for their Munich lager and a silver for their Imperial IPA.
Yeah, the nose of this is like it's got that funky hop thing, like you guys were saying.
Dank
Previously.
asparagus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely get
Oh,
the
that smells
asparagus.
good though.
It does. I love it. The way it
This
smells.
This aroma would be like, this is great if we hadn't just gotten the like aroma bomb that was up.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's a
Like-
tough follow.
Like it's
Yeah.
not that this is bad. It's just that pale ale was like, holy fuck, how did they get so much hop aroma in this beer?
It's crazy.
And this smells great, but it just didn't get the aromatics that pale ale got.
Yeah.
It's funny because both these beers have Mosaic, and I think the IPA has more of like that blueberry thing on the palate. For me, anyways.
On the
It's got
palate,
that
for sure.
dank, like blueberry thing that I get from Mosaic that I love.
The asparagus on the nose is really kind of bringing this down for me a little bit. It's just a little off-putting. for me.
You also hate asparagus, John?
No, I don't. And Joe, did you know we actually did a show with a home brewer who made beer with asparagus? And
really?
He came on our show just to like say, "Hey, I made a beer with asparagus. That's good," and it was really good.
Hilarious.
It was
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
Have you guys drank this? Because it's fucking good.
Yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying.
It's just
That blueberry, the blueberry thing in this is great. I love that part.
What's weird is when beer is bad, John will go out of his way to be like, it's not that bad. And I feel like we're having the opposite today where John's like, this beer is amazing, but I don't know about that asparagus.
no. I'm just saying that's the only thing that kind of throws me off on the nose.
I'm in John's boat here. Like that dank asparagus thing, like for my palate, isn't my favorite thing, but I can I'll finish an IPA that has it. But I probably wouldn't buy this again because not my favorite hop load.
No, I love this beer. I love Simcoe. I'm like, this is extremely my shit.
Like the bittering on it's a little intense for my palate too. It's like
is it
pretty aggressive? Yeah.
I'm not even getting as much bitter as the goddamn Crispy Life. The Crispy Boy is fucking killing me. This thing is so bitter.
As he takes another sip.
I'm comparing.
Compared to the IPA, I don't. Mine's in the fridge, so this has like a softness on the palate too. I'm not getting like any kind of like a sharp bitter bite or anything. Greg, you said it's a little too bitter for you. I think the bitterness is fine for me. And again, the asparagus thing, it's only on the aroma, and aroma is most of what we get on flavor, but it's not that bad on the flavor for me. For the asparagus, I should say.
As long as my pee doesn't stink after I drink this beer, I'm fine with it.
I heard that doesn't happen to everybody.
Yeah, it's like it's a chromosome thing or like a gene. Some people can smell it, some people can't smell it. So some people can have the thing or not,
But they can't smell
and
it.
then some people can smell it or not. So I'm both. I can produce it and smell it.
Me too.
On my pee.
Congratulations.
I'm saying I heard it's like that, and then like cilantro, some people it tastes like soap to them for some reason.
Oh,
and other
totally.
people-
Yeah, definitely. That's a game changer.
It's so weird, dude.
For me, it's time. Time to me smells like mold,
Oh yeah,
which tastes like fungal mold.
Weird.
So I'm like anything that's cooked with thyme, I feel like I can't eat this because it tastes moldy.
It's so weird when you realize like how differently everyone else in the world perceives the world. You're like, oh, this is how things look and smell and feel. It's like, nah, other people like completely perceive shit totally different. It's a weird thing to think of. Yeah.
So this Liquid Gravity IPA, drinking it out of the can as opposed to pouring it in a glass, for me, totally different beer. And it cuts out sort of that. There's like this dank asparagus thing on the nose that it's just not my thing quite so much. So I think some beer is better out of the can. Turns out for me, I don't know.
I still get it out of the can too. It's not my cup of tea, I guess. Not my glass of beer.
Yeah, the bittering is a little. I don't know. We go from like Highland Park and Green Cheek and all these like fabulous breweries that have like they're dialed in their bitterness to the point where they're so pleasant and so delicious and so fruity. And anytime you're presented with something that's a little bit more old school, it really comes off like, wow, okay, it's a Polaroid picture of like beer 5 years ago.
Does
that make sense?
A Polaroid picture.
It's analog.
I fucking love this beer.
I like this beer, dude. Me too.
like, I love this beer. Like, this is fucking great. Like, I would keep this in my fridge all the time. Like,
Really?
It's been a while since a beer has divided the show like this, where like, I think it's fucking great. It just hits everything I want from an IPA. It's a little bit
Interesting.
sticky and dank, which I like, but not in
It's
like
got
the
that, yeah, for sure.
caramel hop old school way. Like it's like a
No.
new version of sticky dank. And like I love Columbus hops too. Like I love a dank IPA. So this is fucking good, dude.
What do you think of it compared to like Swami's, which is also a staple in your fridge?
This is smoother. It's less bitey. The hop character is
I'll agree
more
with you
new
on that.
school,
That's funny.
and it's more new school and less pronounced, or more new school and less
Brash?
yeah, and less piney. Like it does have that stickiness, but it has that modern kind of aroma and flavor. Like I'm really into this beer, dude.
All right.
Setting aside the asparagus note, I just wish that was the only. That's the only thing I'd take out of this. I'm not digging that.
Dank asparagus beers for me, like the second I smell it, I'm like, I'm out. It's just my personal taste, you know.
I like this beer.
Why? Why do you like the beer?
Because I fucking
What-
like it, Greg.
What? Give me like.
Because asparagus
Give
doesn't
me
bother
some
me.
bullet points.
And I like Mosaic, and I like Citra, and I like crushable IPAs.
Why do you like Mosaic and Citra though? What's
Because
the
Greg, look it.
what is the thing? What's the thing that gets you, Joe?
I
I
fucking
want to
love
understand. I want to learn your palate.
it. I like. I think I like the fruitiness of it. I like the
Okay.
Mosaic part, the blueberry. There's a little bit of dankness to it, but it's also light. It's not heavy. It's just I don't know. I'm a West Coast IPA guy. I like it.
Okay.
I'm
The
a West Coast
asparagus thing
IPA guy
doesn't
do it
too.
for me.
But
I don't smell asparagus on the nose. I had said like funky catty Simcoe-y, so I don't have that asparagus thing that's bothering me.
And that equals our tasting note. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like a long time for brewers tasting note, the dank asparagus thing. Where we used to joke that like asparagus was like had like listening to Bob Marley and stuff.
There's been times where I've smelled like something that reminds me of like boiled greens. Like I always said dinosaur kale.
Yeah, boiled greens. Okay, good
Yeah,
call.
so-
That's a really
And
good
I
pull.
don't, and like this doesn't for. I
That's
mean, it
that's
didn't
exactly
smell
what I pull out of this. Yeah,
dude,
so
boiled
I could
greens.
see why you don't like as much. Yeah,
That's a good
dank
way to put
asparagus,
it.
boiled greens,
Mhm.
same.
Mm.
Dank asparagus just sounds funnier.
and tank asparagus is great.
Yeah, referencing that asparagus IPA show, that was June 20th, 2017, season 4, episode
Wow.
25,
Okay.
with Daniel Fernandez
Daniel
from
Fernandez.
Bean Curd Turtle Brewing.
Or like if you guys, I don't know if you guys are fans of artichokes. Like when you steam artichokes and you open the thing and you
Oh,
get that
fuck yeah.
green, like that.
That's the note.
yeah.
that is-
it's like
yeah.
steamed.
That's the dank
like,
asparagus for me.
yeah, it's like
That's
yeah,
what
but
I
I don't
pull
get
out of
that
this
in
hops.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get that in the nose of this,
Weird.
which is probably why I like it more than you guys do.
Jason and Joe have that similar thing where they pull out more of that cat piss thing from the
Mhm.
Simcoe. And
That
me and
smelled
Greg
more
are-
like catty, earthy, whatever to me. I just that's my problem. I don't know the exact words to use when I say earthy. Like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Neither
it's just
do
a
I.
smell.
Yeah.
And I've tried to
It's-
like describe like earthy to me is like when I walk outside after it rains. That smells like earth to me.
Like I could say this smells like earth, but then drink a beer with bad Idaho 7 hops and say that also smells like earth, but in
Yeah.
a different
Potatoes.
way.
Yeah.
It
smells
but
like
yeah,
root
it's-
vegetables.
Yes. Or like I equate it to like my one buddy who moved away. He used to have, dude, he was such a green thumb, and like I would go out in his backyard and see what he was growing, and like just smelling topsoil and like all that stuff is like earthy to me. Like I don't know what
Mhm,
earthy
mhm.
means.
I think it's a broad, like wide encompassing kind of term, and you get the general idea when you say earthy, I think.
And I think the thing with discussing flavor, right? Like we were talking about how everybody perceives the world differently, right? And so people will make fun of when people will say, "Oh, this reminds me of like wet rock or some shit." Like people do some pretty. I think somebody clowned on you earlier, like with like a Joe descriptor or something. When your homies in the chat, they're like, "Bring out here you go, Wet Stones." It's a Joe throwing out greatest hits, Wet Stones.
Well, so that that's kind of a joke on another person, but it's fine.
But
yeah.
but I think it's all just trying. There's not like an official language for any of this,
Right.
right? Like
Mm.
we're all just trying to kind of convey like how is my experience, like how do I relate that to the world, right?
Right.
And I think just using the terms that seems to work for you makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like it because someone else is going to relate and experience that way, and someone else is going to experience a completely different way. So that's the fun of this whole thing.
Yeah, when I started drinking beer, like I would equate shit from when I was growing up, and that's why when I first started drinking hazy beer is when I realized it smelled, and I said Flintstone vitamins because that was like one of my favorite things as a kid. Like I would fucking open up a bottle of Flintstone vitamins
Strong and growing.
and I would smell it.
Before I got into beer podcasting, I watched Gary Vaynerchuk's Wine Library TV. And one thing that that is stuck in my brain is he was smelling a wine. He goes, "This smells like the bike aisle at Kmart."
There you go.
And I'm like, I know
Oh, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what that smells like.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
rubber and
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
stale air, and
Or
but it's such a unique smell.
Did you guys know
Tears.
they still sell Flintstones vitamins?
Of course they do. The greatest vitamins of all time.
Do
What the
kids
fuck?
even understand what Flintstones is?
The
Probably
Flintstones was my parents' generation,
They're vitamins now. They're
I
just
watch
changed into
Flintstones. What are you
something
talking
else.
about?
and I'm middle-aged.
I'm not your kid.
But even though John hates it, like pesto is one of my favorite things because I love basil so much. And one of the
Pesto's
first times,
delicious.
Dude, one of the first times I drank green from Treehouse, I smelled basil, and I'm like, fucking, this smells like basil. This is
Basil.
amazing. Yes.
Italian basil, dude. Oh
Yeah.
man,
It's
so
dude,
aromatic.
it's my favorite herb of it's my second
in
favorite
cocktails.
herb of all
Oh
time.
my god,
Dude,
yeah.
I got
Sometimes.
I got a basil plant from Sprouts for like $1. They had like too many of them, and they were just giving them away. It's like this big ass plant. It's in my kitchen right now. It's great. I put that
Dude,
shit on pizza.
I tried having basil in my backyard a long time ago. My Jack Russell was just like, I fucking love basil too, and ate all of it.
My shit's just in the kitchen. It's on the kitchen counter. I just got basil right there. If I need something for food, I just take a little chop off and I make a pizza, make some
Dude, it's the
pasta,
best.
do whatever, dude.
It looks like John and I are tapping into the next can. Right?
Speaking of my favorite herb of all time,
Yeah, so up next is another IPA,
basil
West
is a
Coast
close,
IPA.
basil's a close second.
Legalize it.
This one's called It's 419. Got a minute? And it's a collab
We're
with
hitting all the funny numbers today.
I will say, dude, I like the name of this beer. It's usually I don't like punny stuff, but this is, I mean, whatever.
Hold on. Is this a collaboration with Megan's Organic Market?
Oh,
It
so I'm
is.
hoping it's gonna be
Is it
Megan
really?
Thee Stallion.
Is there?
Is that a weed shop?
There you go.
Oh no,
It's a market, apparently.
this beer.
Jason, can you Google Megan's Organic Market?
Yeah, I can. I got 2 monitors.
So this
There's
beer
no date on the
smells
can.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's a dispensary. Wait, there's one in Corona? Oh, shit.
Oh,
Oh snap!
Megan's.
Wait, have we ever had a beer that was a collaboration with a weed store?
No, I don't think so.
That's a first for the show, dude.
I can't figure out what that
That
smells like.
rules. Also, Megan's Organic Market is a great name for a weed store because, like, even NIMBY cities will be like, "Yeah, okay, we like organic."
That sounds
markets."
organic.
no, I legit just thought it was like a market that was they're friends with
it's
the
a market,
owner.
John.
It's a dispensary, dude.
But you're right, Jason. That's fantastic marketing. Just call it a market. And where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Megan's. What's that? Oh, it's a market down the street. Okay. Can you pick me up some milk? I wasn't going to stop by there, but okay.
Hey, my shitty city finally started allowing weed stores. There's a one open now and a second one opening soon.
Well, all right. Let's go weed shopping.
Seems like they would have been like on that, earlier, like Moval
No,
in Paris.
every suburb is like, we don't want weed stores in our fucking city because they bring an undesirable element, and so they're all in like unincorporated areas.
We don't want that in our city because it brings in so much
Yeah,
money.
because Fontana is, it's a highbrow culture there.
Hey, now, Greg. You're
I
from
grew up in
Rialto.
Rialto. Come on now.
Are there any breweries in Fontana that have ever made a beer called Joe Fontana or no?
There are no breweries in Fontana. Period.
Oh. Joe Fontana seems like it would be like the perfect beer for that city.
It's like a Joe Montana thing.
Yeah, or like
Yeah,
Tony
Fontana.
Fontana, something like that. I can't figure out what this beer smells like.
Oh, really?
You got
for
it?
me, yeah, it's got that sort of like what's that cereal? Fruity Pebbles meets
Ooh.
papaya.
See, I was gonna say like Starbursty or something like that.
Starburst, yeah. It's that I
Fruity
don't know.
Pebbles, by
I
the
don't
way,
know
greatest
what
cereal
hops
of
are
all
in there.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Are you a Fruity Pebble guy?
I love Fruity Pebbles. They're just it's like eating air
Oh, it's
and
the best.
and flavors.
And
I'm
the
more of a
fucking-
Cocoa
dude,
Pebbles guy.
Dude,
The-
Team
the milk
Cocoa
at
right
the
here,
end.
man. There you go.
You're the
Cocoa
stout
fucking
version.
Pebbles.
You guys are the stout version. We're the fruity version. We're the IPA version.
How long until we have an IPA breakfast cereal? It feels like
Yeah.
the natural progression of things.
Name the brewery that's going to pull that off first. Probably Treehouse.
Rogue.
Yeah,
Well,
Rogue,
we've definitely had breakfast cereal IPAs, but have we had an IPA breakfast cereal?
Here's your Citra.
I don't know if I
O's.
want that.
Citra O's for breakfast.
So for me, this is the version of the IPA that I prefer. Like, it doesn't have that
I agree.
boiled greens aroma.
asparagus, Jason.
It's nice, and I think it's got a more bitter bite to it that's lingering, which I prefer. The other one I feel was a little, and not in a bad way, but it was a little more rounded and softer with the
Mhm.
bitterness. Again, not saying anything bad about it, but this is more up my alley than the previous one.
I'm the opposite, where I like this. I think this is a pretty good IPA, but I thought the other one was a great IPA.
Yeah, John and I agree, and you guys are on that boiled fucking veggie train. I don't know.
Well, clearly we're demolition of WWF, and you guys are like the fucking British Bulldogs, and we'll win.
The British
There you go.
Bulldogs.
Am I Axe or the Smashster?
Who do you want to be?
I don't know. Crush.
Remember when they brought Crush in? I'm like, you can't get rid of Axe. He was the best.
That's his whole move. He would just like crush people's
Yeah,
heads
he would just
until they
smash
gave
your
up.
head.
What an easy move. That's a baller move for a pro wrestler. He's like, my finishing move is I just pretend to squeeze their head and then they give up. Like he doesn't have to like Hulk Hogan like got spinal damage because he landed on his ass 10,000 times.
Oh my god, poor dude.
Like literally,
work smarter, not harder.
He had back problems because his move was jumping all the way up, putting his legs up, and landing on his ass, and his spine just got compressed.
Man.
Where like, you know, if your finishing move is just doing this, it's like fucking genius, dude.
Of course,
it's like Honda.
Fuck you, Greg. Joe, do you know the Honda story? Do you know what we're talking about there?
I don't.
It's relevant for Joe's Arcade. We were up at the California Craft Beer Summit in Sacramento, and we went to what is it called? Coin Op Tavern or some shit?
Yeah. Where I beat your ass down.
That's
the one downtown by where the Kings play?
Yeah, it's a barcade up there.
Dude, the last time I was there, their tap list was fucking awesome.
It's really good.
Yeah, we were there. We were drinking beer, and then it was like, let's play Street Fighter. So it's like, okay, I kind of remember Street Fighter.
Greg just spammed the shit.
And then Greg just fucking 100 hand slap spam me for fucking 3 rounds. He just like, and it's like, God damn it, stop spamming, stop fucking spamming, God damn it. He's just like,
you win.
And then,
you have a Street Fighter machine, Joe?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay,
we'll recreate it for the
come on
YouTube.
down. Yep.
Love Street Fighter.
Yeah, as far as IPAs go, this is one I would stock in my fridge on the regular.
Look at John. He likes this more than the IPA.
Yeah, I would not buy that IPA again, nor would I buy the Blood Orange. And it's nothing. It's not that they're bad beers.
Preference.
I think the Blood Orange is a little flawed for me because it doesn't. It's not like a beer. It's more of a Blood Orange delivery device. But this is really good.
I think out of all these beers, I think Pale from the Crypt might be my favorite.
Pale from the Crypt is a fucking
obvious winner of
I think
the
this
fight,
one,
right?
That one was awesome. I think like listen, I'm a low ABV guy these days. Hoppy Pilsners are my favorite, so I just want low alcohol with like a lot of flavor, and that one checks all the boxes. So, and it's completely different than the beer I remember drinking last time. Like the last time I had that beer, it was speaking of crystal malt, it was very like almost like brown bread. It was sweet. It was just kind of a mess of a beer. I don't know if they changed something or if I had an old can, but that beer today is fire.
Okay.
Yeah, what's cool about Liquid Gravity, I think as a whole, like definitely really good skills making beers, really tasty brews. They do have their house character, and you could really tell sort of what their profile is that they're going for, sort of on the danky, fruity side of IPAs, and like sort of on the bitter side of the lagers. For me, definitely interesting brewery. I would love to go check them out sometime.
Yeah, we gotta make a slow trip.
I am down as fuck to go to San Luis Obispo. That'd be fun. Hey everyone, John here. Thanks for listening to another episode of 4 Brewers. You can go to 4brewers.com for show notes, past episodes, and photos of all the beers we sample on the show. Go to supporttheshitoutofit.com or patreon.com/4brewers to support the show to get some cool perks and the Patreon exclusive supporter glassware that we send out to our supporters every year for free. Watch all of our video content, including my beer reviews, Cheap Beer Corner, and the occasional vlog at 4brewers.com/YouTube or youtube.com/4brewersshow. Follow us on Instagram at 4brewers. And follow us on Untappd at 4Brewers. Go to twitch.tv/4Brewers or 4brewers.com/live to watch the live stream of our recording sessions and some occasional 4B gameplay. Leave a 5-star review of the show on Apple Podcasts because it really helps us with the rankings and visibility of the show in the Apple Podcast directory. And if you have any feedback, questions, concerns, or you want to send some beers our way, email us at feedback@4brewers.com and brew the shit out of it.